I really hope that Wicked Gaming will be able to get a pretty good start of the game, especially since they are gonna be onto the CT side first. Well, I'm really looking forward to see what kind of strategies that they have got in play. But once I definitely will have a few strategies in a playbook, and of course starting off the round with your very own typical execute into A. Hopefully it all goes well, but Wicked Gaming, they definitely got some contingency plan against these sorts of executes, because it's pretty understandable as to what's going to happen from here on. With Killswitch being right in the sandwich, is going to very likely be the one to come into first contact, as Skills walked right past him, but unfortunately Killswitch did not manage to leverage the entire position that he had. It was a good 1 second of exposure of headspace for him, but he just could not connect the dots. And just like that, Wicked Gaming, they are going to be stuck with only 2 men to fend for themselves, 1 in connector and 1 in CT base. Not a lot to work with, but they gotta have to do something at this point of time, with AR7 immediately taking a very nasty headshot through the wall or something like that. But fortunately, still managing to connect onto Bulbasaur's head.
Yeah, they do have Kill fired up, so at least might just be able to stick it. But yeah, with him falling, that's not gonna be doable at all. Fired up with the P2K, trying to put it to good work. Oh, there was a world where he got that third headshot onto Splashkey. Could have stuck the defuse after that, but Huat picking him all 3 members at once made that round all the more undoable. And once again, right, going back to the fundamentals, Huat, not revealing the ace up their sleeve, right? And this is kind of, I guess, a bit of the difference, right? Wicked Gaming, they have had to pull off a lot of antics, a lot of different tricks, a lot of, aces up their sleeve, as you would call it, in order to get the 9 rounds that they did on Inferno, right? Whereas if you contrast that against Huat, they never really had to pull out anything too special, right? It's just straight up aggression, but trading things out as well. Now Splashkey straight through the smoke onto AR7, and they're pushing all the way to CT. Now Skills leading the charge. Perfect flash from Moxie, but Skills will be able to find the trade, and it is level pegging at the moment. Moxie will continue on that aggression. Takes a bit of grenade damage, but will continue on his advances. Abdul with the off angle will take out the plane connector, leaves fired up all alone in the 1 vs 2, and shouldn't be able to get anything done, and Splashkey will duly close out the round. Wicked Gaming the force by being put away in a relatively easy fashion. Another fast round coming out from Huat, catching Wicked Gaming completely off guard.
That is Huat's full out aggression against the side of Wicked Gaming. Like I said, not much of a special antiques from them. It is just really just rushing right out and just overwhelming Wicked Gaming with whatever that they have, with the massive firepower that they have as well. So Wicked Gaming, they gotta have to think of something a little bit different. And stacking onto A may not be the bestest idea, especially considering the fact that Huat, they're trying out something a little bit different this time. In fact, they're just rushing right down through mid, get themselves a decent amount of control right here in connector. It is quite a disaster, but they still managed to make it work. A little bit of friendly fire here and there, but fired up is ready to fire up a little bit of that taser onto anyone that stumbles inside of Palace, but I don't think that anyone will be that foolish enough.
Yeah, they've completely negated him, and how well we do lose a bit of entertainment value from the potential Zeus kill. Even ball topping Palace and bomb topping Palace. Spots out fired up. He will find the frag onto him. And Huat, that's a round where, again, he's just holding W. You can see the 3 players out in middle, just not stopping at all, right? Continuing buying space for their teammates, and trusting that your teammates will trade the kill. And this is a sign of a really well-oiled machine, right? You can see the amount of trust they have in each other. It's incredible to watch and incredible to see the pace at which they are able to play the game at. And Huat, they're not gonna slow down, right? Again, it's gonna be a fast round, I believe. Yeah. Maybe a bit more defaulty.
Yeah, they're literally working hand in hand. Like I said, a lot of trust being built up onto one another. They don't really look out for they look out for each other a lot, but in fact they don't look out for themselves a lot, as in their own personal space. Despite all of that chaos in the previous round inside of connector, they pretty much know exactly what they're looking out for, who's going to be aiming at which kind of position, and none of the members inside of connector throughout all that chaos actually went down to any of the members from Wicked Gaming. Our Indian friends over here is still not putting out the firepower that we are expecting. The retaliation against Huat is just completely, well, non-existent. As Killswitch tries to take his first shot down, the small little gap in between did not manage to make the shot, but at least Huat have gotten themselves with the idea, and of course they have the information that an Oppa is just looking down through of apartments, which is going to give Huat more reasons to tackle into A, which has been pretty, well, successful so far.
So scared they are just playing into the city. They've got no map control to show for the efforts at all, but Fired Up with the AWP is allowed to play from behind, and Huat they'll find themselves in empty A site. And because of the fact that they have a player up in short, right, they're able to get the bomb down safe. But Neff playing with grenades a little bit too much there. Now the smoke will go up and bomb does get planted, but AR7 will find a kill. Bulbasaur close enough to trade, but it's very difficult position for Huat now. Bulbasaur and Spills, do they have the synergy to close out the round together? Let's see. Kill switch.
Things are working out well for Huat. Unfortunately, with Spills being the last man remaining, holding down on the connector, trying to go for 1v1 fight first. The first 1v1 is going to be on Kill Switch, tries to go for the next one on top of Ticket Booth, but unfortunately, it is going to be an unfortunate showdown as Fired Up is just rocking onto his AWP. Things would have went pretty darn good for the side of Spills, actually. His allocation of his positioning as well as allocation of his opponents and the targeting is pretty darn good. He is pretty and very level-headed, but unfortunately, that is going to be 1 point given away to Wicked Gaming, which shouldn't be too big of a deal as Huat they still have quite a lot of economy for themselves to buy out for this round, but probably not enough for them to buy out the next round if they were to lose.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fast Blizzard coming out. 2 players in the apartment and perhaps 3 up Cat as well. So this seems to be the plan straight off of Spawn. Yeah, you can see the smoke for Connector as well, blocking off vision, and Nav making his way up the catwalk. We'll have a one-way above it, but Defaulter is sitting in the smoke. They will volley him out, but smoke's not good as well. Off the back of the opener, Huat do decide to actually slow it down, and now they know that Wicked Gaming, they have the double op setup. So Huat that immediately changes the playbook that they had in mind, right? Because last round they weren't really aware of double ops, but now Spills with the trade onto McGill's here up at short. Kill switch with the AWP outside of market. Oh, gets defeated by Spills. That's why he should have won it all. And Naf does fall into the connector, but Huat they do have the B side.
Extremely bold plays from the side of Huat 3v2 at this point in time. Spills holding down the corner from prison, and of course, just with his AWP, with Moxie boosted up on box. One onto the window and one onto the doors of the shops. I don't think that Wicked Gaming is going to be, well, looking out for a fight here. It would make a lot more sense for them to fall back and go for a save. The amount of economy that Wicked Gaming have on this 2-man save is definitely possible for them to buy out another 2 more weapons for 2 more of their teammates. So it should be a relatively good round for the next one, even if they have lost this round. It shouldn't be a problem.
No love lost between Splashkey and Moxie. You can see right at the end they're having a bit of fun as well, right? This is what kind of big spots are so good, right? They're playing well and they're having fun at the same time, and that's kind of the most important part as well, right? Of Counter-Strike sometimes, right? Well, you know, some of these players, you know, even for pro players, right, you need to kind of have fun to be able to perform well, and Huat they're certainly having their fair share of it at the moment. Wicked Gaming able to cough up yet another buy, but this is once again the economy, you know, on its last legs. Aggression is the underpass. McGill's will find a kill onto Moxie. This should give away the fact that it's a default, because Moxie's typically the player in towards the apartment, so now if the player underpass is able to get away, it'd be good. 7, extending the man advantage against Bulbasaur. So Huat 5 to 3 on 5. Splashkey still has the AWP, so they might just want to play contact, right? Walk up to a site. If you find a player jump spotting, which is exactly what they're hoping to do with Kill Switch here, Flash goes up. Ooh! Yeah, Splashkey missing his shot. That's gonna give away the game plan, because normally the op wouldn't be alone. It's definitely got backup arriving, but so too do the CTs. Flash out, Molotov for Van. Now starting to make inroads towards the site. Both players though playing right underneath the window. Such a difficult position to clear. Spills though. Jumping out, almost getting a kill. Neff with 1. Kill switch with the USP finds a 2nd and a 3rd to stand his ground on that B site. Huat repelled on their advances. And Wicked find themselves second, but certainly need a lot more.
A lot of back and forth motion from Huat. Not very confident in the push down in the apartments with the Oppa in the front. A little bit of road play once again, but Huat they are not gonna be giving up just yet. They do have some more tricks that they can very possibly play, and maybe just go back to their own old antiques, whichever one that works. Fired up, holding down this corner, sees a small little pixel of Splashkey and immediately brings him down to the ground. The deagle that Splashkey used to have is now gonna be on the hands of Bulbasaur. Hopefully that this Bobo will be able to make full use of this hand cannon. With Spills already at a level of health, I'm not looking at a very optimistic gameplay from the side of Huat. I'm looking more towards a 3-4 game. But there must be some extra stuff that Huat is looking out for.
Oh, huge gap in the defense. How have they allowed Moxie to get up connector? That's gonna be a gun that can be retrieved in pad as well.
That is a easily retrievable gun. Whichever player can just slowly make their way over to Palace, and that is going to be a savable gun, or perhaps even a gun that can help them achieve this round. But unfortunately, Wicked Gaming, their utilities and as well as their firepower is relatively strong. A single AWP and 3 of the primary weapons. McGills is very cautious regarding the positioning of Huat. But Huat is just slowly getting themselves pincered out and being shut down by the massive amount of firepower that Wicked Gaming is able to provide.
So keeping it relatively clean at the end of the day, Wicked Gaming able to preserve the 2 AKs that they were able to pick up from the T's as well. But this is going to be the bread and butter of Counter-Strike. The gun rounds, as Huat will be able to get the rifles out. No AWP though, crucially for Splashkey. So maybe faster round on the cards, right? Not so much a default where they're working picks, but more so a set plan from Spawn. Huat certainly do have a couple of that as well. But again, the question is how much do you want to give away this early in the tournament, right? Round of 16, potentially still a weekend's worth of Counter-Strike to play, but of course you need to get past this hurdle. So you need to find the right balance, and yeah, I think the early mid-control being established. Fired up though, another open on snap. Spills able to trade Moxie, finding McGills in the underpass position this time around. And despite having the opener, Wicked Gaming now to advantage. Make the advantage once again though, because AR7 just swings around back in their favor. Last 2 remaining players out in middle, making their way up catwalk. I think AR7 has been loud and clear with this rotation.
To add salt to the wound, AR7 has even picked himself up with a nice little AWP. However, HP that they have doesn't really quite matter. But in the end, Splashkey did manage to get himself a very compromising position right inside of A side, immediately catching AR7 off guard. And thus, the C4 planted, Defaulter comes in from jungle, takes one off the hands of Splashkey, and Moxie is going to be the last man remaining, hiding in the depths of connector. Not much place to work with. His left and right are all completely smoked out. Apparently, someone has been smoking too much cigarettes, but Moxie is definitely the one that is the center of the attention. The C4 still ticking. Kill switch walks past. Walks past!
Moxie's won this. He's got it. For sure.
This is Moxie. This is game!
Yeah.
This is game! And Moxie clutches around! He's not even gonna care about letting the C4 explode in the faces of Wicked Gaming as all of those boxes goes into shambles, but instead, he took matters into his own hands and decided to single-handedly shut everyone down. It was a really good run from the side of Huat. Really good run. It's one heck of a trigger discipline.
Yeah. Just that awareness as well. The smoke, using the smoke to his advantage, right? And Wicked Gaming, their own smoke ends up costing them because he couldn't spot Moxie at the edge of it. You can see, I think the player in connector had an idea, right? He tried to spam the angle, heard nothing, and so assumed that it was clear. And Moxie, the X Factor showing up, the fast B split now on the way, paying dividends for Huat as once again they're able to walk their way onto the side. Fired up though with the AWP, might still have something to say, but so long as Splashkey can cross over to the side. Oh, she rolled. AR7 will be able to pick up the AK on Nav. Makes it a little bit more doable. Splashkey wants out the AWP, but with Fired Up going down, this is going to be a pretty difficult clutch. Not especially when AR7 has only 5 points of health. Bulbasaur, clean as you like from the side of the head. That's gonna be 6 rounds on the board. Wicked Gaming economy broken. Down to pistols. Huat managing to stabilize. So at no point, if I remember, so far this game have Wicked been able to get ahead in terms of rounds.
It's a very steady downtrend for the side of Wicked Gaming, unfortunately. Huat is just doing whatever that they can to ensure that the game is constantly in the palm of their hands. And once again, not a lot of tricks is being shown out by Huat. They're just letting the games flow right off of their fingertips. Whenever they're able to get kills, they go for it. Whenever they're able to get this nice shots down, then they go for it. Such as this very moment over here with Defaulter trying to go for an offensive play right inside of Palace, only to be completely shut down by Bulbasaur. Spills casually just walked in. We can all hear the squeal of Bulbasaur. Quite a Bobo indeed. But all in all, Wicked Gaming is probably gonna be pretty happy just from that very normal taser right off the side of constructions.
Yeah, that's the highlight reel for you for Wicked Gaming. And yeah, the scream, not so much one of pain, but more so one of anguish and embarrassment for Bulbasaur. But at the end of the day, it is the rounds that matter. Huat will find themselves on the 7th pretty comfortably. And the fact of the matter is as well, oh, Moxie
Didn't even see that coming.
did not even see it coming at all. Deletes kill switch. But Wicked Gaming, there was a round that they were prepared to give up, and maybe just cheering each other up a little bit as well. The fact that they were able to find the Zeus kill onto Bulbasaur. I think he's not gonna be too happy about that one, but maybe Huat a little bit more aggression to come out from that. Who knows?
Yep, very likely. Knowing their playstyle, Huat would be not too happy about that Zeus, while Wicked Gaming is probably gonna be jumping on their feet and hoping that Huat will have a short fit of tilt. But I don't know how that's gonna be like. CR7 just ran right out into the open, shouting to everyone, "Look, it's me!" Immediately being shot down by 4 barrels, or rather 3 barrels, just staring down right at him. 4 versus 5, fired up. Gets one. And it's just going to be an equal amount of manpower.
Wow, now he's walking through the smoke. You can see fired up, not even ready for him to be there. That's a checkmate move right there. Because that man advantage now for Huat waiting for the re-aggression up shot as well. Spiels is gonna win this duel every day of the week unless he whiffs just a little bit. But Neff making noise towards that A side. McGill still not overextending, and Defaulter in fact will win the duel against Neff. Makes it a little bit more doable. Huat we're a little bit scared. But now Splashky's made a bit of noise, which is drawing McGill's back over to this B side. Spills on the late lurk. Splashky dropping. Doesn't even need his brother to save him. Because he's gonna win the duel against McGill's either way. Last two in place here in market. Bomb is planted for short. Should be able to close it out from here.
It's gonna be a tough round for Wicked Gaming. It does seem like they are still gonna be looking out for this fight, but unfortunately Moxie right at the top of Van takes it, Defaulter down, and the last man that is gonna be inside of Shops didn't quite manage to land all of the hits down onto the chest, or perhaps even on the heads. As Huat comfortably gotten themselves with a total of 8 rounds for themselves, approaching into round number 12. Wouldn't be too surprised if Huat were to continue with this onslaught against Wicked Gaming, because Wicked Gaming just left with a couple of baby guns that they are wielding onto their hands. It is gonna be tough. It is definitely gonna be tough. Huat's momentum is gonna have a major uptrend. It is gonna be a nice impulse.
Yeah, Bulbasaur just getting a couple of free shots here, knowing he's got the range advantage, but AR7 makes him pay for it, and in fact is able to retrieve the AK for his troubles. Huat being Wicked Gaming, they've opted not to break the vent in middle, so normally that would serve as an early warning system, right, for any potential flanks in towards CT or towards market, and that's going to be a sure giveaway sign that there's someone at least in the nest position. But the fact it didn't break it means that you can see Wicked Gaming, I think McGill's wanted to get into nest, but wasn't able to do so because it'd be too loud of an indicator, which puts him very far away from this A hit that is about to ensue. Huat AR7 gets deleted by Moxie from the back, and Splashky with covering fire for his teammates. And now it's just a cleanup crew now. And I'm pretty sure now it's going to be the battle of who gets the last eco frag between the four main players. Huat, sorry my friend, you're unable to be a part of this, but McGills makes Moxie pay for it. Even able to the AK, and Huat seem intent on chasing him down, and they are Neff will come out victorious.
Gunning down through the crawl space is one thing that Huatsai is very, very capable of. 3 to 9, Huatsai, their head is bloated. Their confidence is soaring right through the roof, even into the stratosphere. Very likely we'll be expecting Huatsai to play a lot more aggressive from this point onwards, despite splash key onto the AWP. We've seen him going aggressive despite holding onto the op a couple of times, being the first one to open up the fight, being the first one to find peaks first. And Splashkey just heads himself all the way inside of apartments, and very likely will be the first one to find McGills looking through the AWP. It is going to be a 1 versus 1 sniper fight. Who's going to be the one to come up on top first? Well, that is a question that we'll get, and there's an answer that we'll find out in a bit.
Double op setup once again for Wicked Gaming, but the kind of caveat to that is it's not got a lot of utility. Right? You can see all the smokes have been used except for the one in AR7, and he's the A anchor. So any advances up in middle, they're gonna be unable to defend them off unless a mistake is given up by Moxie. Especially getting taken out as well. Refrag comes in, but at the end of the day, Gaming they do stabilize with the man advantage. Spills though takes us back into even Stevens, but the bomb is still in top mid. AR7 playing so passively, but also has to know that the A anchor's still alive. Yeah, thinking that he's all the way into A main, but also getting completely caught off guard. They know AR7 A anchor, but at least now Spills knows where the last remaining players are. He's gonna be able to get the bomb down. It's his time. Step up now. Time to shine.
With the bomb planted into A, slightly more towards the side of connector. Spills will have a grand opening, as it does seem like the 1v1v1! I have no idea why Wicked Gaming decided to entry into the side like that. They weren't very cautious about it. In fact, it was literally caution into the wind. They did. And Wicked Gaming, it could have been a round for themselves. It was 2 versus 1. They didn't manage to scout out for positions. They didn't try to go for any more information. Now that was literally the shovel that I was talking about. They're digging right into the ground, allowing the bar to go even lower than ground level.
Yeah, that must have been pretty tilting, right? But you can see why Wicked Gaming would go for that, right? Because they based if you're playing on the side of Wicked Gaming, you showed a player up at short and you showed the second player in CT, so you knew where Spills kind of was as well, right? So in theory, you would think he will have to be wary of that short position, right? But what happened in the end was that Spills, he took the gamble, that shot was clear, and then he just stood out in the open. That's not something that would typically work out, right? You expect the last remaining player to be tucked in somewhere safe, maybe a main, maybe in the connector, and not standing up to fight. But instead, playing a little bit off meta, Huatzai. But Moxie, his solo adventures out in the apartments will get punished, and still, just the pistols though, and now Huatzai is swinging things up with this B split. Only a player here to receive them, unfortunately, and McGills is gonna be punching the table after that one. He's alone on B and they come over to find him.
Yeah. All of Huatzai is just heading their way towards B. It's an easy kill for the side of Spills right onto Fired Up. He's trying to make his way right into the shop. But it doesn't seem like things are working that well for the side of Wicked Gaming though. Neff gets a blind spray through the smoke, gets the head of AR7, completely decapitating him, while Killswitch is slowly making his way downtown through the apartments and waiting for the perfect time for him to kind of appear inside the spaces. As Spills takes one off of Defaulter, looking for the next one incoming. As Killswitch is still somewhere in apartments, looking for exit frags. But it doesn't seem like it is going to be the case, as he slowly gets himself away from the side, and Huatzai has managed to get themselves with a total of 11 points to their name. It is a massive, massive lead, a massive deficit that Wicked Gaming now have to catch up to. It's not gonna be an easy round.
Yeah, it's a contrast as to what we saw on the CD side of Inferno, right, where Wicked Gaming got the double op setup out. They were able to get a couple of rounds towards the end, but now it's just been all Huat fired up though, able to get one, and AR7 creeping through the smoke will find skills with his back turn, and yeah, there's gonna be a shutdown for Wicked Gaming, but big question is it all too little too late? Especially now left in the 1-on-4. Can he pull off something that Cadian did? Maybe, because he does find the first.
Splash K is gonna be the last man alive.
Oh.
Takes his shot right into jungle.
not like
into
this.
nest.
Oh.
He gets himself the shot onto McGill's, but unfortunately fired up from the other side of the site. Manages to clinch the round as well. And that is the conclusion of the first half of this round between Wicked Gaming versus Huat with a massive amount of lead on their hands. And now with Huat playing as the onto the CTs, it is definitely not an easy game for Wicked Gaming at all. It is not easy.
Yeah, I can just imagine the face of Spills, Bulbasaur just looking at this and saying, you know what? Let's just push them on our CT side. There was something I remember from them when they were playing on local tournament in Singapore. They were just discussing whether or not to push their opponents on their CT side. That's the level of confidence they have with regards to their abilities, and a sign of their experience as well. Retake set up into its B, but Wicked, they're so scared of a potential B stack. They're second guessing themselves.
Huat really prefers to play a lot more of a retake positioning instead of just shutting down Wicked Gaming as they enter into the side. Nav immediately runs through into shops. He gets the shot down onto McGill despite playing in a very passive position just now. He takes one for the team. Or rather, he takes two for the team. With 3 men left, bomb is planted, the retake is up, but unfortunately, the lineup's coming up through. Defaulted fired up and so on. AR7 finds himself more kills. Splash key kills Spills! Oh man, just not the kind of thing that you want to happen as Huat crumbles within their own demise. And Wicked Gaming gets an easy pistol round because of, well, Huat's small little, internal conflict.
Yeah, purely accidental that one. Certainly no love lost between the pair, but Wicked Gaming, that's a good round to find, right? Especially since they were down 3-on-5. You're dropping to smoke for the market door instead of the window, so that's something different, right? Something different from the side of Wicked Gaming, and it worked out in the end for them. Because they were able to find the kills on the players walking through grey screen, and now they're gonna take a lot more of a cautious approach. So standard smokes, this is a fast smoke that can be thrown from spawn, right, to suggest a fast A play. But look at where the rest of the players are. I think this is a tactic stolen from Big Clan. In fact, seen a video on this before. So the rest of the players are walking their way up catwalk into its B, and they dropped all the rotates over from the side of one side. So whilst McGill's will fall, Wicked Gaming have walked themselves into the B side for free, and that's completely caught off guard by the pacing at which the T's have found themselves into the market.
Currently at 4 versus 4, this is a very equalizing game that Huat will want to get themselves into. They do have a single Galil as well as 3 Deagles. We should be able to get themselves a pretty good good start, especially since if they will want to play a further game. Just play it on the far range, which Bulbasaur taking on the opening of this run. A flash right out, Bulbasaur picks himself up with a nice little scout. Maybe the one that will be able to find out more kills as Moxie. Man, oh man, these hand cannons are just absolutely phenomenal. Huat though, they are unable to run themselves into the B side to get themselves the win. But fortunately, they should still be able to get themselves some money? No, that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Yes, that was forced buy from Huat. So unlike on Inferno, where they had a little bit of a back and forth between the force buy wars, Wicked Gaming are able to convert their pistol win. So at least they're up to 6. Comeback still possible, especially now since they will have a pretty free shot at it. Certainly a lot of it, a much easier round to put away compared to previous. But Splashkey, oh, what was that from Splashkey?
Oh,
I didn't even see that shot.
No, it just connects. It's just a homing missile, a torpedo. Right over to the head of Fired Up. I'm pretty sure that he is very fired up, negatively as well. But Huat, they are now preparing to go back for the retakes on the side of Wicked Gaming. As the bomb is now steadily planted down. Huat with 5 men strong. they are not gonna be giving up just yet. One right beside ticketing booth, but it did not manage to come into fruition as Flashy takes the fall. Spills comes right in with a nice little refract. 3 versus 4. It is not the end just yet. As the rest of the members coming from Huat side is just coming in, flooring it. Right on the side of Wicked Gaming with one inside of the slope. Manages to get one. One in Palace as well. And these two members, Defaulter and McGills, manages to just wipe out the rest of Huat side, leaving up into a scoreline of 7-11.
Interesting change coming up from the side of Huat. I think in the past couple of months, we kind of see Nav opting a little bit on the CT side of Mirage. So now that Splash Key's taken it up, maybe it's, Splash Key kind of going back to his usual position. I think it's pretty flexible between the pair as well, but certainly, they spot him out in the connector, and then, the gun barrel's sticking out. Splash Key does manage to get away with his life, but Ops certainly been shown. All 5 members on the side of Wicked Gaming out in towards middle. And the instant response to losing mid control for Huat, you can see this is the kind of processes that are in place. Immediately, 2 players pushing in towards A main, right? You lose middle, you take back another part of the map. And this is going to allow them to, based off the information that they hear into the top of middle, because McGills is making no secret of his presence, decide where they want to hatch their forces.
They try to breach through this thick wall that Huat has brought up. It's not too much of a tall order for Wicked Gaming to be able to break through this. Just a little bit of sledgehammer will be enough, but it doesn't seem like the sledgehammer from Wicked Gaming is strong enough. Bills, he allowed Killswitch to just walk past him. No issues, but surprisingly, he still managed to get himself 1 kill. Nav takes over the position right outside, just right by prison, and he's gonna be left with 1. As McGill slowly makes his way down from B-shot. Good trigger discipline. Brings Nav down. Last man Moxie runs down Apartments. But unfortunately the position has already been exposed. But surprisingly, McGills did not manage to exploit that very information, giving Huat yet another point. And I'm pretty sure that this very game itself, or rather this very round itself, is going to be a tough one for Wicked Gaming as well. Not a lot of economy to work with. Not a lot of utility that they can work with as well. Just going to be working up with some Tech 9s and a couple of Kevlar armor.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much all.
And they've had to tap out, right? So despite winning the opening 3 rounds on the second half, Huat all it took is 1 gun round, and Wicked Gaming, the economy, brought down to its knees already. And yeah, Huat you could see, they lost the opener. Bobo saw up at short, lost the opening duel to Wicked Gaming, and then, Spills, he was all alone on site, but somehow he managed to dance on ice, right? Finding the first kill into the player towards short, and then a second on the player that was trying to trade, but walked through the smoke, and Spills just dancing around it, somehow evading his opponent, shooting him from behind. And then that's when the cavalry arrived. That's when Huat they were able to stabilize themselves on site. And then Moxie with the late lurk, with the late flank, somehow winning the duel against McGills, right? You called it out, right? The Molotov and the sound of the tick was loud and clear for everyone to hear. But Moxie, just the confidence on the man to peak and win that 1v1 duel, that's going to be something that's difficult to swallow if you're on the side of Wicked Gaming, because that should have been a round, right? You got the man advantage, you had the side, you had the anchor all isolated, you had the 1v1, and you knew where the player was, and you knew that you tagged him up a little bit with the Molotov. But then it's just because it's Huat you lose the round.
Huat is on a level of their own, man. This is a league of their own. The name itself is intimidating itself. Just looking at Huat makes you tremble, unable to make rational decisions. But considering the fact that Wicked Gaming gotten themselves a total of 7 points for themselves, this is definitely a game that they can come back on without a doubt. Just a couple of rounds, going for a tiebreaker. Anything could fly. Like picks could fly as well. But with only 10 seconds left down on the clock, the timeout is now over. Wicked Gaming has got some tricks on their sleeves now, preparing to deploy some of that in this very game just so that they can change around the momentum. Not a lot of economy they can work with as well, so I'm not too sure what kind of steady plan they have.
Yeah, hero AK purchased up on McGill, so he's gonna have to be the star of the round, but he's already been tagged down a little bit, so the M-Force will be lethal against him. And just dry contact out, making no noise at all. McGill's will find the opening duel onto Splash Key, and now this is where the rest of the team can collapse onto this A site. And still, a late look from Underpass. Moxie will be able to collect McGill's, but no, in fact, he's still alive. The AK is still loud and proud. Spills, though, will make Fired Up pay, and this is where it's Travel Town for Wicked Gaming. 2 versus 2, but look at how low the last remaining players are, and look at how isolated they are from one another. Spills, not overextending, and this is just the waiting game. It's all down to timing right now.
Not a very good execution from the side of Wicked Gaming. They did manage to have a really nice opening right onto the side of A, but unfortunately quite a bit of their players have took a fall right by Sandwich as well as right close to Shadow. But all in all, as long as they're able to get this plant down in favor of themselves, with one that is going to be right on the stairs and the other one right on top of the phone. A little bit of a bold play from the side of McGill's. Have yet to be spotted out just yet. Takes one for one, makes that 1 for 2. As McGill's manages to clutch the round out, being the last man alive, and also with only 22 HP to work with. What I definitely did not see that coming with the off-angle position that Wicked Gaming has adopted. And that timeout definitely did work out for them.
Yeah, and off the back of it, they're calling yet another one. They should know that money on the side of Huat is going to be a little bit weak, right? Because they won the 3 opening rounds, and then, Huat they were able to pick up 1, but in doing so, the loss bonus was reset back 2 rounds, right? So Wicked Gaming, and also remember, the 1 round that Huat won on that CT side was a 1v1 being won out by Moxie in the end, so not a lot of players alive to carry over cash into the next round as well. So Wicked Gaming should know they're in a pretty good position right now. And, Huat, for all the credit that we've given them, we have to say as well, it's not been flawless on their side. Right, certainly some mistakes being made here and there. You can see, yeah, they're having a lot of fun. This is kind of a warm-up for them. But of course, that's on the premise that they make it through. But Wicked Gaming, you can see the effort that they're putting in. It's really commendable, right? You can see they have quite a lot of different strategies that they're using. Most notably, look back to the second round, right? The fast smokes being thrown for the jungle cross as well as for stairs, and then the rest of the team just making their way up short, knowing that they've managed to cause a bit of a ruse, create a bit of distraction. So Wicked Gaming do still have a couple of good things going for them, but the question is, can you keep up the momentum against Huat, right? It's possible to string a couple of isolated rounds, get a round here, a couple of rounds there, maybe 2 rounds here, but can you do it consistently? That's the biggest question. What's for sure though, is that I think Wicked Gaming, they've done better than they have on Inferno, right, Abstract?
Yeah, I do agree. In the end, the Inferno scoreline was 16-8. And Wicked Gaming definitely has have caught up in terms of points as compared to the previous one. It's not just based on points, but the marksmanship, the way that they executed their sites, the way that they defended their sites as well. Perhaps they are not that phenomenal on the side of CT, but their place in the T's has definitely been is definitely an evolution of what they have managed to do in Inferno. I mean, ironically speaking, this is Huat map pick, while we are looking at quite a change for the better for the side of Wicked Gaming's gameplay.
Yeah, so off the back of this timeout, let's see what Wicked Gaming decide to do. Do they go for a pace change, or do they try to... Maybe they use those 2 minutes to really detail out exactly how they want the plan to work out, right? It's just as though they have a set plan from spawn once again. Probably an A execute, yeah. Smoke towards mid, smoke towards window, suggesting that they're going to be taking mid control, but in reality it's going to be an A execute coming out from the T side. Spills though not stopping. Yeah, a lot of information being cleared already. So Huat they should know, and all 4 players rotating over already. Bulbasaur is going to be close, but can they deny this execute? That is going to be the big question. Just the Deagles and the USPs. Let's see.
A really nice shot. Great opening from the side of AR7 as well. Kill switch. Moxie and Bulbasaur will now go down to the ground as the final nail in the coffin is just going to be put up by Fired Up and Kill Switch itself, with Splash Key being the last man remaining as he hides behind of the ticketing booth. There's really not much they can work with. Splash Key miraculously still managed to get a kill down on the defaulter, making things slightly more expensive for Wicked Gaming to come into round number 22. 9-12. Definitely, Wicked Gaming definitely made things a lot better for themselves. The way that they executed is definitely pretty darn good. Once I even had the early positioning of just scouting through of B apartments, They even have the idea and the knowledge that Wicked Gaming will be executing and banking everything into A, but yet they were unable to climb out of the game solely because of the fact that the economy was weak. If done onto a normal round, I'm pretty sure that Wicked Gaming may be shut down right there and then.
Yeah, but that comes off the back of knowing that, of course, you're going up against pistols, right? Which is why they would have been a lot more comfortable with going for the execute. Crucially though, the grenade in towards the nest actually gave away the sound of the vent breaking. Not really sure if it was for just the vent up at short in towards the ladder room, or also the one that signals any sort of presence with the player in the nest. Because Huat's last round, what they did was they didn't break the vents. This is, we talked about this earlier on Wicked Gaming's own CT side, a bit of an early warning system. And Huat's they've opted to completely give up mid, and for good reason. Now though, Nev is slowly rotating in, sitting in the smoke. Don't find anyone. Oh, loses a duel to McGill's. That's a key opener to find. But mid control, it's good. It's not exactly a bomb site though. Wicked Gaming still need to be able to pry apart the defense of Huat's. Let's see which poison they pick. Seems like it's going to be B.
Yeah, they already won that horizontal control right down the side, right down the map of Inferno, and pressure and suffocate Huatzai in terms of their positioning and rotation. But it does seem like Wicked Gaming is not gonna give Huatzai any time and any moment to breathe, as they just ran right in and put the lead into the faces of Huatzai, one after another. Moxie being the last man remaining, there is just no way that they are able to get this game out. The comeback is here. The comeback is nigh, and Wicked Gaming, they're coming into 10-12.
Oh, and this is all off the back of the Hero AK purchase on McGill's, right? Throwback to just a couple of rounds ago when it was, 7-12 for Wicked Gaming? And they had to go for the all-in. McGill's Hero AK, the only rifle in that round, actually managing to get an ace. And because of that, Wicked Gaming have been able to string together 3 off the back of that round win. McGill's kills Moxie right at the end as well. So no AK being carried over, no rifle being carried over on the side of Huat's. Means that they will have to go for a pretty hard eco. Just the Deagles, considering they've got the loss bonus building up for them. And MP9 on Spills as well, limited utility to work with. Well, it's gonna be tough to see how they come back from this, unless of course they do find a couple of openers. We saw this back on Inferno, and Wicked Gaming, they'll be quite sure to avoid any such mistakes once again. All players out in towards middle, fast up the catwalk, and yeah, it's fast towards B. Kill switch with the open up the focus door, AR7 with the kill on Flashy just before the blooming of the smoke. And this is gonna be the B side taken, Spills in the apartment, good for 1, but unable to get too much. Gets back a little bit of his cash in his medal. 9, but that's gonna be all she wrote for the round. And Wicked Gaming starting to close the distance now. Huatzai starting to tremble a little bit. Moxie at EK. Better off saving.
Racing far right here, but it does seem like Moxie, he doesn't really care too much about saving this AK out. You gotta have to be careful though. There's gonna be an Oppa as well as 2 other AK users. They just slowly get a retreat into the shops and ensure that you get a safe retreat, and just saving up the AK. It's gonna be valuable for the next round to come. They can no longer play aggressively, or rather they can play aggressively, but in a very calm and collected manner. Ensuring that they get the next round is very, very important.
I have to say, really didn't expect this coming out from
Not
Wicked
at all.
Gaming. Yeah, they've done well. But
They come back out of nowhere. It all stemmed out with McGill's ace, and ever since then, it has been a very constant uptrend, a nice little impulse. Huatzai is just finding so much difficulty to close this game. They are choking so bad.
But you can see now they're starting to feel. You can see the worry starting to come in, right? The double op setup, such a pest play against, but Moxie, full wide as he tried to approach A main, and that's a huge opponent to find because that's the A anchor down on the side of Huatzai. But still, 2 ops still standing. Difficult to retake, but once the opponents are coming in, you can find a couple of kills before the bomb goes down. Let's see. McGill's once again about to lead the troops up, so faking the B execute. Draw the rotates over, and that's done exactly that. Bulbasaur with the opener. The fact that he's still alive is going to call it clear. And now Splashkey with the angle needs to be good for 2, but only good for just the 1. AR7 though very isolated with the bomb. Can he even get it down? That's the question, because players have arrived in CT, and Huat they know that the play has to be towards A now. The only question is, are there any lurkers out in towards middle, underpass? And answer is yes, there's one. But still so, huge kill to fire up. AR7 onto Nav, keeps us in a 2-on-2. Bulbasaur going to swing from CT and wins the duel now. Defaulter, this is going to be a tough round to recover, especially since it's made so much noise.
Oh yeah, noise is out. Definitely knew what's going on, but Spills took the leap of faith to jump right down to mid, unfortunately popping his head off right for Defaulter to catch, and now the manpower, the firepower has now been balanced. Wicked Gaming still have a chance in this, and they can still make things even worse for Huatzai, but making them choke even more, coming in into a 12-12. Bulbasaur's positioning though seems to be a lot better, with Defaulter trying to get himself the lead. I'm trying to find out where the last member of Huatzai is. But Huatzai finally gotten themselves out of that 12-point curse. But the main question is, will they still be able to get themselves more wins? Because that was one heck of an expensive round.
Yeah, very expensive indeed, and not gonna have an AW to play with. I think they might just have retrieved one for Splashkey. Yeah, they have. So just the one, not the double up setup, but means that they will have to likely play a lot more upfront. 2 nades in towards main will tag down McGill's, not finishing it off, but a lot of unconfirmed damage to begin the round, and that's gonna force Wicked Gaming to reconsider. Do you really want to go for this A execute? Do you really want to know what's on the other side of the map? Do you? Fire it up.
Doesn't seem like you can find much. Not much. But the execute is imminent. Molotovs, incendiaries, all gonna be tossed right through from both A and B though. But Wicked Gaming, they are not committing to this just yet. Not committing! They just throw everything else willy-nilly, and only up until now they get themselves Tetris. Nav holds himself down right inside of Sandwich, and Moxie holds himself under shadow for a good long time. Moxie and Bulbasaur, they're just getting worked down hand in hand. Teamwork's imminent. 3 versus 2. Splashkey with the AWP takes a nice shot while blinded. And still got this game in the bag as Bulbasaur switches out, Splashkey switches out, brings the final man down to the ground with the final nail in the coffin with 11-14. Huatzai is finally getting themselves back into the game. The tilt is over and the end is nigh.
Well, I absolutely love that from Huatzai. You can see, look at the trouble that Moxie and Snaf were in, right? One player into Sandwich, one player underneath balcony. They were being mollied out, flushed out, forced to drop their smokes. But look, they stayed put, right? Because Wicked Game, they were unable to get out, unable to hunt them down, and they waited and waited and waited and waited for the perfect flash to come in from Bulbasaur before finally picking, right? You do that if this situation occurs in a normal matchmaking game, the moment you get mollied out, you're gonna take the peak, right? You just run out, right? But look, the patience from Huatzai paying off in the end, and Wicked Gaming now only have a single AK, 3 Galils and a Deagle to play against match point, trying to prevent Huatzai from getting onto 15, but they do manage to find the advantage of the early engagements. It's the mid-round though that really matters.
Splashy takes 1. Defaulter with only a sliver of health. The only one that is pretty much consistent and reliable is going to be left with fired up is our skill switch. One popped right out from Palace though. Kill switch suffers a little bit of a damage, but not too much. But in the end, Splashkey all the way from CT takes the one magnum shot into the chest of Killswitch. He's gonna be left with fired up. He's slowly stalking his way behind Splashkey inside of A side. And great trigger discipline, but he whiffed the first few shots. But luckily, Splashkey did not retaliate in time. That must have been quite a shocker for fired up. And Spills with the last man remaining is definitely gonna be trembling right on his feet. He's just finding out, getting more information. But
can
Spills
it now. Defaulter's low. Defaulter, he can't go for this. The kid
They have
is taking it.
they have
Spills!
it.
He's won it!
A merry-go-round, and it still worked out. 11-15. That was a big mistake. A massive mistake. They were confident. I'm pretty sure that Wicked Gaming were confident at the very fact that Defaulter doesn't even need to come out. But I still gotta have to comment that pros don't fake. Huatsai stuck it through. They have good information, and I think that Huatsai was ready to whip up his pistol to land that final shot anytime anyways.
Yeah, now they're looking to put an end to this. Aggression out in middle, coming out on top in the exchanges. They spot out the bomb as well, and they know that there's yet another player in the middle. They know last screen player is in the apartment as well. So now, McGill's and Killswitch, the positions have been given up. McGill's even meeting his maker, and that could be the end already. Huatsai capitalizing off the fact that they won a round that they really never should have won in a million years. They know Wicked. After that, it's what just happened. You can't fathom losing a round like that, and then using that momentum, steamrolling it to potentially the series victory.
Yeah. I mean, on Huatsai, they knew exactly what they are supposed to do. They went all in straight and fast right through middle, while Wicked Gaming is still either in a state of shock or they're still trying to understand what exactly happened in the previous run. So
Killswitch has slipped the net. Ooh, oh, I think he's been spotted. Yeah, he's been spotted. Yep. Jump spot. Way in position, but he is able to find a kill still. Still a doable one versus two. Oh, Spills arriving just in time, and Huatsai able to book themselves a slot in the top 8. A 2-0 victory, but boy oh boy did Wicked make them work for the money. Huatsai towards the end, you could see they started to sweat just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I think a little bit maybe an understatement actually. Yeah. Huatsai, they knew that they cannot underestimate their opponents anymore. At the start of the game, they're just kind of telling themselves and just saying to themselves that it's impossible to underestimate them because anything that they do from this point of time can only impress me. Until the point of time that Huatsai was actually impressed with ace in their sleeves, like literal ace by McGill.